The Taj Mahal, the monument of eternal love. Welcome. Today, I am going to tell you a story that will leave you speechless. You might have heard about the Taj Mahal before. Maybe you know it as the symbol of love, a wonder of the world, or a magnificent white marble monument in India. But today, I am going to tell you the real story. The story that no history book can fully capture. The Taj Mahal is not just a building. It is a love story, a tragedy, and a masterpiece all in one. A love so deep that it created one of the most beautiful structures in the world. This is the story of Shah Jahan, the mighty Mughal emperor, and Mumtaz Mahal, the woman he loved more than anything in his life. After listening to this, you will be shocked to know how one man's love for a woman gave birth to something that still stands after 400 years. And this is not just a history lesson. This is a perfect story for your English listening practice. So sit back, relax, and let me take you on a journey back in time, a journey of love, power, pain, and an unforgettable legacy. The meeting that changed everything. Now, let's begin. To understand the Taj Mahal, we must go back in time to the year 1607. Imagine a grand Mughal palace decorated with gold, silk curtains, and the finest carpets from Persia. The air is filled with the fragrance of rosewater, and outside the gardens bloom with colorful flowers, jasmine, marigolds, and roses as far as the eye can see. Musicians play the sitar and tabla in the courtyards. Peacocks strut across marble fountains. This was the world of the Mughal Empire at its height, one of the richest and most powerful empires on earth. This was the world of Prince Khurram, who later became Shah Jahan, the Emperor of India. At this time, he was a handsome young prince, only 15 years old, but already known throughout the court for his intelligence, his bravery, and his ambition. He was the son of Jahangir, the fourth Mughal emperor, and the grandson of the mighty Akbar the Great, who had built the Mughal Empire into a superpower. Everyone knew that one day Khurram would rule this vast empire, but he had no idea that his life was about to change forever. One day, while walking through the royal Meena Bazaar, a special market inside the palace where only royal family members could shop, Prince Khurram saw a young girl. She was not an ordinary girl. She was Arjumand Banu Begum, a Persian princess from a noble family. Her beauty was beyond imagination. She had long black hair that cascaded down her back like a silk waterfall, deep brown eyes that seemed to hold the mysteries of the universe, and a smile that could melt the coldest heart. In that moment, Khurram fell in love. It was as if time stopped. He could not take his eyes off her. The way she moved, graceful as a dancer. The way she spoke, her voice like music. The way she laughed, filling the air with joy. It was as if the whole world had disappeared and only she remained. He felt his heart race, his hands trembled. He knew in that instant she was the one, his destiny, his soul's companion. But love in royal families was not so simple. Arjumand Banu was the niece of Noor Jahan, the powerful and ambitious wife of Emperor Jahangir. Noor Jahan was the real power behind the throne, a woman of extraordinary intelligence and political cunning. Marrying her niece was not just a matter of love, it was politics, alliances, power struggles. Royal marriages were carefully calculated moves in a grand game of chess. But Khurram was determined. He went to his father and declared, "I will marry no one but Arjumand." Jahangir, knowing his strong will and recognizing genuine love when he saw it, finally agreed. But there was a problem. In those days, Mughal princes did not marry immediately, even if they were engaged. Court astrologers had to choose the most auspicious date, the stars had to align, the moon had to be in the correct position. And so, for 5 long years, Khurram and Arjumand waited for their wedding day. Can you imagine 5 years of waiting, seeing each other occasionally at court functions, but unable to be together? 5 years of stolen glances across crowded rooms? 5 years of writing secret letters, of counting the days until they could finally be united. It must have been agony, but their love only grew stronger with each passing day. The Wedding of Dreams. Finally, in 1912, the stars aligned. The astrologers declared the date auspicious. The grand wedding took place, and it was like something from a dream. Elephants decorated with jewels and silk cloths paraded through the streets of Agra. The palace was filled with music, drummers, flutists, singers performing ragas that celebrated love and union. The finest food from all over the empire was served: biryanis from Hyderabad, kebabs from Lucknow, sweets from Bengal, fruits from Kashmir. Gold coins were thrown to the crowds, dancers performed in the courtyards, poets recited verses about love and destiny. The celebration lasted for weeks. The entire empire rejoiced. This was not just a royal wedding, it was a celebration of love itself. After the marriage, Shah Jahan gave his bride a new name, Mumtaz Mahal, meaning the chosen one of the palace, and she truly was his chosen one. Shah Jahan eventually had 7 wives, as was common for Mughal emperors, but Mumtaz Mahal was the only one he truly loved. His other wives did not live with him the way Mumtaz did. They were only in the palace for political alliances, for show, for status. But Mumtaz, she was his heart, his soul, his everything. Mumtaz Mahal was not just a beautiful queen sitting on a throne, she was Shah Jahan's best friend, his advisor, his greatest happiness. Unlike other Mughal queens who often lived inside the palace walls, sheltered from the outside world, Mumtaz traveled with Shah Jahan everywhere, to different cities, during military campaigns, even to battlefields. She was not just a silent queen, she was his partner in everything.
She helped him make decisions about the empire. When he was unsure about a policy, he asked Mumtaz first. When he had to make difficult choices about war or peace, he consulted her. She advised him on political matters with wisdom that impressed even his most experienced ministers. She was intelligent, educated, well-read. She understood poetry, philosophy, politics. She could discuss military strategy as easily as she could discuss art and architecture. Shah Jahan trusted her more than anyone in the world. If he had a problem, he went to Mumtaz. If he was sad, she comforted him. If he was angry, she calmed him. She was his strength, his peace, his anchor in the storms of royal life. Every morning when Shah Jahan woke up, the first thing he wanted to see was Mumtaz's face, and every night before he slept, he wanted to hear her voice. Their love was something rare and special, even in the history of kings and queens. 19 years of happiness. For 19 years, their love grew deeper and deeper. They had 14 children together, 7 sons and 7 daughters. Each child made their bond even stronger. Mumtaz was not just a loving wife, she was a devoted mother who cared for her children with tenderness and wisdom. She made sure they received the best education. She taught them poetry, music, and the values of compassion and justice. But Mumtaz was also beloved throughout the empire. Even the servants, ministers, and soldiers respected her because she was always kind and fair to everyone. When people came to her with problems, she listened. When someone was hungry, she made sure they were fed. When someone was sick, she sent doctors. She used her position not for personal luxury, but to help others. The palace servants would whisper, "The emperor is powerful, but the empress is compassionate." The common people loved her. They would line the streets when she passed, hoping for a glimpse of the queen who cared about them. Children would run alongside her palanquin, and she would smile and wave at them. She never forgot that power comes with responsibility. During these 19 years, Shah Jahan's reign flourished. He became emperor in 1628, after his father's death. Under his rule, the Mughal Empire reached its golden age. Art, architecture, literature, music, everything flourished. Shah Jahan was obsessed with beauty. He believed that rulers should not just conquer territory, but should create beauty that would last forever. And Mumtaz was always by his side, encouraging his artistic vision. When he wanted to build the Red Fort in Delhi, she supported him. When he commissions the magnificent Jama Masjid, she was there at the foundation ceremony. They would spend evenings discussing architecture, looking at designs, imagining how they could make their empire more beautiful. But life is unpredictable. Even the greatest love stories can take a tragic turn. The journey that changed everything. In 1631, after years of peace and happiness, Shah Jahan faced a great challenge. A rebellion started in the Deccan region of southern India. As an emperor, Shah Jahan had to lead his army to fight the war and restore order. This was his duty. The empire depended on him showing strength, showing that no rebellion would be tolerated. And as always, Mumtaz insisted on going with him. Even though she was pregnant with their 14th child, she refused to stay behind. Shah Jahan begged her, "Please, my love, stay in Agra, rest, take care of yourself and our child. The journey will be long and difficult, the heat will be unbearable, the roads are dangerous." But Mumtaz held his hand and smiled. She said, "How can I be at peace when you are in danger? My place is by your side. I have been with you through every battle, every campaign. I will not abandon you now. Where you go, I go. That is my promise." Shah Jahan could never say no to her, and so she traveled with him to the Deccan. But this journey was too hard for her. She was in the late stages of pregnancy. The long travels, the scorching heat of summer, the dust, the stress of war, it was too much for her delicate health. Still, she never complained. She smiled and supported her husband, even though her body was growing weaker with each passing day. And then, in a small tent near the battlefield in Burhanpur, the unthinkable happened. Mumtaz went into labor. It was June 17, 1631. The childbirth was long and extremely painful. The royal doctors and nurses did everything they could, using every treatment known at that time, but something was terribly wrong. After hours of agony, she gave birth to a beautiful baby girl, their 14th child. But Mumtaz was very weak. She could barely open her eyes. Her body was too exhausted to survive. Shah Jahan rushed to her side. He held her hands tightly, his eyes filled with fear and pain. He had faced armies, conquered kingdoms, ruled an empire. But now he was powerless. He could not save the woman he loved. Mumtaz, struggling to breathe, looked into his eyes one last time. She whispered, her voice barely audible, promise me you will never forget our love. Build me something beautiful, something that will tell the world how much you loved me." Shah Jahan, with tears streaming down his face, his voice breaking, said, "I swear, my love, you are my heart, my life. I will love you forever. I will build you a monument so beautiful that people will come from every corner of the world to see it. You will live forever in that beauty." And then Mumtaz took her last breath. She was gone. She was only 38 years old. The woman who was his world, his happiness, his entire reason for living, was gone forever. The grief that consumed an emperor. Shah Jahan broke down. He refused to believe it. He held her lifeless body in his arms, crying like a child. The mighty emperor, the ruler of one of the greatest empires on earth, was now just a man who had lost the love of his life. His sobs echoed through the tent. His generals and ministers stood outside, weeping. They had never seen their emperor like this, completely shattered, destroyed by grief.
The news spread across the empire like wildfire. People could not believe it. Taj Mahal was gone. The beloved empress, the woman who had been the heart of the royal court, had left this world. The entire empire fell into mourning. In every city, in every village, people wept. They lit lamps in her memory. They said prayers for her soul. But no one's grief compared to Shah Jahan's. After Mumtaz died, he locked himself in his room for 8 days. For those 8 long days, he did not eat, he did not drink water, he did not speak to anyone. He just sat there in the darkness, holding Mumtaz's last piece of clothing, whispering her name over and over again. His ministers stood outside his door, begging him to come out. "Your Majesty, the empire needs you. Your children need you. Please, you must eat something." But Shah Jahan did not respond. He was lost in his grief, drowning in memories. He remembered the first time he saw her at the bazaar. He remembered their wedding day. He remembered 19 years of happiness, laughter, love. And now she was gone. How could he go on? What was an empire without her? What was life without her? On the 9th day, his ministers and his eldest daughter, Jahanara, finally convinced him to open the door. When he stepped out, people gasped in shock. The transformation was horrifying. The strong, handsome emperor they knew was gone. His black hair had turned completely white in just 8 days. His eyes were swollen and red from crying. His face looked pale and lifeless. He had aged 20 years in 8 days. The man who once ruled with power and confidence now looked like a living ghost. But then something changed in his eyes. A determination appeared. He called his ministers and made an announcement that shocked everyone. "I will build a monument that will make the whole world remember Taj Mahal. She will live forever through this monument. It will be so beautiful that nothing on earth can compare to it. I will spend whatever it takes. I will use the finest materials from every corner of the world. This will be my life's purpose now." This was the beginning of the Taj Mahal. The promise that became a monument. Before Mumtaz died, she had made one last request to Shah Jahan. She whispered, "Bury me in a place so beautiful that people will come from every corner of the world just to see it." Shah Jahan swore that he would fulfill her wish. At first, her body was buried in a garden in Burhanpur, where she had died. But this was not the final resting place she deserved. This was temporary, just until Shah Jahan could find the perfect location for her eternal tomb. Shah Jahan began searching for the perfect spot. He wanted a place that was peaceful, grand, and worthy of their love. He wanted a location where the monument would stand forever, where it would be visible from far away, where the river's reflection would add to its beauty. And then he found it. Agra, on the banks of the Yamuna River, the city where they had spent so many happy years together. The location was perfect. The land sloped gently down to the river. The view was magnificent. The river would reflect the monument, doubling its beauty. Shah Jahan purchased the land from a nobleman, paying him generously. And so he moved Mumtaz's body from Burhanpur to Agra, where the greatest monument of love would be built for her.
Now Shah Jahan had only one purpose in life: to build the most beautiful monument in the world for Taj Mahal. But this would not be just any tomb. It had to be made of the purest white marble. It had to be decorated with gemstones from all over the world. It had to be so perfect that no other building in history could compare to it. He called the best architects, engineers, and artists from across India, Persia, Turkey, and Central Asia. He assembled a team of more than 20,000 workers. He spared no expense. Money was no object. He had promised Mumtaz that he would build her something unforgettable, and he would keep that promise no matter what it cost. The cost of eternal love. The materials for the Taj Mahal came from all over the world, making it one of the most expensive buildings ever constructed. White marble came from Makrana in Rajasthan, India, the same quarries that had supplied marble for centuries. This was not ordinary marble. It was translucent, meaning light could pass through it slightly, giving it a magical glow. Over 1,000 elephants were used to transport the marble blocks from the quarries to Agra. But the marble was just the beginning. Jade and crystal came from China. Turquoise came from Tibet. Lapis lazuli, a deep blue stone more precious than gold, came from Afghanistan. Sapphire came from Sri Lanka. Carnelian, a red gemstone, came from Arabia. Gold, silver, and pearls came from all over Asia and Europe. 28 different types of precious and semi-precious stones were used to create the intricate inlay work on the marble. The technique was called pietra dura. Pieces of colored stone were cut into delicate shapes of flowers, vines, and calligraphy, then fitted into carved-out spaces in the marble with such precision that you cannot feel any seam even with your fingers. It is estimated that the total cost of building the Taj Mahal was 32 million rupees at that time. In today's money, that would be more than $1 billion US. It was the most expensive structure built in that era. Shah Jahan spent approximately 1% of the empire's entire annual revenue on this single monument. Over 20,000 workers worked day and night for 22 years to complete it. Master craftsmen from Persia designed the intricate patterns. Italian experts created the pietra dura inlay. Turkish calligraphers wrote verses from the Quran in elegant script around the arches. Indian sculptors carved delicate marble screens so thin that light could pass through. It was a true international collaboration, bringing together the best artistic traditions from across the world. But why is it called the Taj Mahal? The name itself has been a mystery for many. Some historians believe it comes from Mumtaz Mahal, the name of Shah Jahan's beloved wife. Taj means crown in Persian. Mahal means palace in Arabic. So Taj Mahal means the crown palace, a fitting name for the monument of the queen who ruled Shah Jahan's heart. But others believe the name comes from a corruption of Mumtaz Mahal over time. As people spoke the name quickly, Mumtaz Mahal became Taj Mahal. Regardless of its origin, one thing is certain: the Taj Mahal is the ultimate symbol of love. The architecture of the Taj Mahal is based on perfect symmetry and geometric precision. Everything is balanced. The main mausoleum sits on a raised marble platform. 4 minarets stand at the corners, each 40 meters tall. These minarets are not just decorative. They were designed to lean slightly outward so that if they ever collapsed during an earthquake, they would fall away from the main tomb, protecting it. The main dome rises 44 meters high, creating a perfect silhouette against the sky. It is actually a double dome, an inner dome that forms the ceiling of the tomb chamber, and an outer dome that creates the iconic shape. This double dome technique was revolutionary at the time. The gardens in front of the Taj Mahal represent the Islamic concept of paradise, a place of perfect beauty with flowing water, fruit trees, and flowers. The gardens are divided into 4 sections by water channels, symbolizing the 4 rivers of paradise mentioned in the Quran. Fountains line the channels, and when they are flowing, the water reflects the Taj Mahal, creating a mirror image of stunning beauty. But the most magical thing about the Taj Mahal is how it changes throughout the day. At dawn, when the first light touches the white marble, it glows pink and soft orange, as if blushing. At noon, under the bright sun, it shines pure white, almost blinding in its brilliance. At sunset, it turns golden, as if made of light itself. And at night, under the full moon, it glows silver and ethereal, like a ghost of love floating above the earth. This was not an accident. Shah Jahan deliberately chose white marble because he knew how it would interact with light. He wanted the monument to be alive, changing with the time of day, reflecting the changing moods of love itself. But while this magnificent structure was being built, something dark and controversial was happening in the royal family. One of the most shocking claims in history is that Shah Jahan had an unnatural obsession with his own daughter, Jahanara Begum. Jahanara was Shah Jahan's favorite daughter, the eldest child born to Mumtaz Mahal. After Mumtaz's death, Jahanara took on the role of First Lady of the Mughal Empire. She was only 17 years old, but she was intelligent, beautiful, and had great political power. She became her father's closest companion, the one person he trusted completely. But there was a dark rumor. Some historians claim Shah Jahan never let her marry because he wanted her for himself. Jahanara never married during her father's lifetime. She remained in the palace, always by her father's side, treated like a queen. She had her own palace, her own servants, her own income. She was given privileges that other princesses never received. Some European travelers who visited the Mughal court wrote about strange rumors they heard. They claimed there was an inappropriate relationship between father and daughter. But we must be careful here. These were often foreigners who did not understand Mughal culture, who might have exaggerated or misunderstood what they saw. There is no solid proof of this claim, only theories and speculation based on limited evidence. What is certain is that Shah Jahan adored Jahanara. She was the only person he truly trusted in his final years. After Mumtaz died, Jahanara filled the void in his heart, not as a romantic partner, but as a devoted daughter who reminded him of the woman he lost. They were close, perhaps unusually close by our standards, but whether it crossed any inappropriate line remains a historical mystery. But soon, Shah Jahan would lose everything. He had 4 sons, and the fight for the throne was brutal. In Mughal tradition, there was no clear law of succession. When an emperor grew old or died, his sons would fight each other for power. The strongest, the most ruthless, would win. This had happened in every generation of the Mughal dynasty. Shah Jahan's sons were no different. The strongest among them was Aurangzeb, a ruthless warrior and a man of strict Islamic beliefs. Unlike his father, who loved art, music, poetry, and beauty, Aurangzeb was a cold-hearted ruler who believed in military power and religious control. He hated the extravagance of the Taj Mahal. He believed his father was wasting money on useless things instead of focusing on war and expanding the empire. Aurangzeb was also troubled by his father's grief. Shah Jahan, even after the Taj Mahal was completed, continued to live in sadness, spending hours at Mumtaz's tomb, speaking to her as if she were still alive. Aurangzeb saw this as weakness. He believed emperors should be strong, cold, calculating, not emotional and sentimental.
As Shah Jahan grew older, his sons began fighting for power. The war of succession was vicious. Brothers killed brothers. Armies clashed. The empire was torn apart by civil war, and in 1658 Aurangzeb emerged victorious. He had defeated all his brothers, some of whom he captured and executed. And then Aurangzeb did something unthinkable. He imprisoned his own father, Aurangzeb locked Shah Jahan inside the Agra fort, a massive palace complex near the Taj Mahal. Shah Jahan was not physically harmed. He had his own rooms, servants, food, but he was a prisoner. He would never be free again. For 8 years, Shah Jahan lived as a prisoner in his own palace. But the cruelest part was that from his window, he could see the Taj Mahal. Every day, he would sit by that window, staring at the white dome rising across the river. He would look at the monument he had built for his lost love, remembering the 19 years of happiness they had shared. Can you imagine the pain? To see the symbol of your greatest love every single day, but to be trapped, unable to visit it, unable to even walk in the gardens you created. It must have been torture. Shah Jahan spent his days in sadness, thinking about Mumtaz, talking to her portrait, writing poetry about their love. His only comfort was his daughter Jahanara, who refused to leave him. While Aurangzeb ruled the empire, Jahanara stayed with her imprisoned father, caring for him, reading to him, keeping him company. She gave up her freedom to be with him in his darkest hours. This was true loyalty, true love, the love of a devoted daughter who would not abandon her father even when he had lost everything. Shah Jahan's health slowly declined. The grief, the imprisonment, the years of sadness, it all took its toll. His body grew weak, his mind drifted between past and present. Sometimes he would talk to Mumtaz as if she were in the room with him. Sometimes he would wake up forgetting she was gone, then remember, and the pain would crush him all over again. In 1666, after 8 years as a prisoner, Shah Jahan died. He was 74 years old. His final wish was simple. He wanted to be buried next to Mumtaz Mahal in the Taj Mahal. Despite everything, Aurangzeb granted this wish. Perhaps even his cold heart softened at the thought of their parents' love story. Shah Jahan was buried secretly at night, placed in the tomb right next to Mumtaz. And thus, the love story of Shah Jahan and Mumtaz Mahal finally came to an end. In death, they were reunited, lying side by side for eternity beneath the most beautiful monument ever built for love. The eternal legacy. Today, the Taj Mahal is considered one of the 7 wonders of the world and is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It is the most visited monument in India, attracting between 7 and 8 million tourists every year. People from every country, every culture, every religion come to see it. And when they stand before it, they all feel the same thing: awe. The Taj Mahal is a reminder of the love that Shah Jahan had for Mumtaz Mahal, but it is also a story of love and loss, betrayal and tragedy, power and downfall. It is not just about a beautiful building, it is about a love so powerful that it created one of the greatest wonders of the world. Engineers and architects from around the world still study the Taj Mahal, praising the perfection of its design. They wonder how, in an era without modern machines, computers, or steel, such a perfect masterpiece was built. The mathematical precision, the perfect symmetry, the structural engineering, it all demonstrates a level of knowledge and skill that rivals modern architecture. Even world leaders and celebrities have been moved by it. Bill Clinton, the former president of the United States, once said, "There are 2 kinds of people in the world, those who have seen the Taj Mahal and those who haven't." Princess Diana visited the Taj Mahal in 1992 and sat alone on the bench in front of it, a moment captured in one of the most famous photographs of the 20th century. The Taj Mahal has inspired countless poets, writers, artists, and musicians. Rabindranath Tagore, the great Indian poet, called it a teardrop on the cheek of eternity. It has been painted, photographed, and filmed thousands of times, yet no image can truly capture what it feels like to stand before it in person. But the Taj Mahal is more than just a tourist attraction. It is a symbol of what love can inspire us to create. Shah Jahan could have spent his wealth on anything, more palaces, more armies, more conquests. But he chose to build a monument to love. He chose to create beauty that would last forever. He chose to tell the world across centuries, "I loved her, and my love will never die." That is why the Taj Mahal will live forever, not just as a building, but as a story, as a symbol, as proof that love, true, deep, eternal love, is the most powerful force in human existence. It is a monument of love, but also a reminder of the pain of losing someone dear. It is eternal. It is unforgettable. It is the Taj Mahal.